Good people, I need some help. My husband, 63M, and I, 60F, have been happily married 30 plus years. 5 or so years ago, he started cycling. He loved it, and I was happy he found something he enjoyed, and was good for him, although I felt he was spending too much money on bikes, tools, supplies, rides and races, and weekend trips. As the years went by, I noticed a change in him. The love and excitement for cycling that he once had seemed to overshadow everything else in his life. It started innocently enough, with him going for short rides on the weekends to clear his mind and get some exercise. But soon, these rides turned into full-day excursions, leaving me alone at home for hours on end. I tried to be supportive at first, understanding his need for an outlet and a hobby to keep him active and healthy. However, as time went on, his passion for cycling began to consume him entirely. He was constantly out on his bike, even on holidays and special occasions when he should have been home with me. The last few years have been bad with the time he spends riding. It's getting unbearable for me. He's gone all the time. He takes 2 cycling classes a week at the gym, he rides there when he's not taking classes, and he's out on the road or a path 4 to 6 days a week for 4 to 6 or 7 hours at a time, coming home after 10 at night on weeknights. Oh, and works a full-time job on top of this. I couldn't believe how much time he was dedicating to cycling, seemingly at the expense of our relationship. The loneliness and emptiness I felt when he was out riding for hours on end were palpable. I longed for his companionship, for him to be present with me instead of always being away on his bike. Last month we went to Florida for 3 days to visit my family, and of course he had to rent a bike and ride. In the last 5 months he's left me alone to ride on Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day, Easter, and Mother's Day. He probably went riding on Valentine's Day too, I don't remember. As I post this, he's in Chillicothe, Ohio on a weekend ride and visit with friends. I felt a sense of abandonment and resentment building inside me. It seemed like no matter what I said or did, he chose his bike over me time and time again. The special moments and holidays that should have been spent together were now tarnished by his absence, his need to ride taking precedence over our relationship. This is not a communication issue, as I have joked, talked, complained, yelled and cried all many times. I love my husband dearly and don't want a divorce, but I can't take being alone anymore. I'd rather be separated and alone than married and alone, but if I leave him, I feel I'd be letting our kids and grandkids down. I'm so lost and don't know what to do. Nothing I do or say makes a difference to him. I tried everything in my power to make him see how his obsession with cycling was tearing us apart. The tears I shed, the anger I felt, the desperate attempt to salvage what was left of our marriage, all of it seemed to fall on deaf ears. He was so consumed by his love for cycling that he couldn't see the pain he was causing me. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, the distance between us only grew wider. The once happy and loving relationship we shared was now strained and fragile, held together by a thread that was slowly unraveling with each pedal stroke he took on his bike. I'm hoping a few people are willing to comment so I can show him this and maybe we can both learn something, or I can gain some insight. Thanks ahead for your helpful comments. But the worst was yet to come. One fateful day, as I sat alone in our empty house, the reality of my situation hit me like a ton of bricks. The realization that I was just a bystander in my own marriage, that I had become nothing but a shadow trailing behind his cycling adventures, was a bitter pill to swallow. I couldn't bear the thought of spending the rest of my days in a loveless and lonely marriage, watching as my husband pedaled away from me, both literally and figuratively. The pain in my heart was unbearable, the ache of longing for his presence almost suffocating in its intensity. I'm hoping a few people are willing to comment so I can show him this, and maybe we can both learn something, or I can gain some insight. Thanks ahead for your helpful comments. Through the tears and the emotional turmoil, I made a decision that would change the course of our marriage. I knew that I had to confront him, to make him see the damage his obsession was causing, not just to me, but to our relationship as a whole. It was a moment of reckoning, a moment where I had to stand up for myself and fight for the love that was slipping away from us. As I sat him down and poured my heart out, the words tumbling out in a rush of pent-up emotions, I saw a flicker of realization in his eyes. It was as if a veil had been lifted, allowing him to finally see the pain and hurt that he had been causing me all this time. The conversation that followed was raw and honest, filled with tears and words unspoken for far too long. In that moment of vulnerability and honesty, we both laid bare our deepest fears and insecurities. His love for cycling was not just a passion, it was an escape from the pressures of life, a way for him to cope with the stress and anxiety that plagued him on a daily basis. And in turn, my loneliness and feelings of neglect were a reflection of the neglect he felt within himself. But through that shared moment of truth, we found a glimmer of hope. We realized that our marriage was worth fighting for, that the love we had shared for decades was still alive, buried beneath the layers of hurt and resentment. It was a turning point, a chance to rebuild what we had lost, to rediscover the bond that had once held us together. With each passing day, we took small steps towards healing. He made an effort to be more present, to prioritize our relationship over his need to ride. And I, in turn, learned to give him the space and understanding he needed to pursue his passion in a way that didn't come at the cost of our marriage. The road ahead was long and uncertain, filled with twists and turns that tested our commitment and love for each other. But with each pedal stroke and each heartfelt conversation, we began to weave a new chapter in our story, one that was built on mutual respect, understanding, and above all, love. And as we rode into the sunset together, hand in hand, I knew that no matter where the road took us, we would face it together, side by side, in a journey that was as much about finding ourselves as it was about finding each other all over again.